Welcome back to Sports by GSMC Podcast Network. I am your host, Jeremy Lapidus. Today is Tuesday, November 19th. If you are just tuning in, we just finished going over the first half of the NFL Power Rankings, spots 32 to 17. We're going to finish up that ranking here in a second, but before we do, remember, if you would like to be an even bigger part of the show than you already are, all you need to do is go to gsmcpodcast.net. Or if you are on YouTube, you can use that super chat feature. If you do either of those two things, a message should pop up on the bottom of the screen for you, me, and everybody else around the world to see. If you do have a burning question about sports, anything at all that you would like to ask, go ahead and throw that in the comments. Throw it in the chat. I will get to it as soon as I possibly can. I appreciate everybody so much for sticking around, talking some sports with me here on a beautiful Tuesday, November 19th. But like I was saying, we're going to finish up our NFL Power Rankings here. As you can see, the Seahawks were where we last left off at number 17, and continuing from there, number 16, it's the Denver Broncos. How about the Broncos continuing to win football games and win them dominantly? That defense has been crazy without a lot of big names on them. The pass rushers have been awesome. They don't really have a lot of big names on that defensive line. You still have Pat Surtain in the secondary, who's been locking everybody's top receiver down, but that offense under Bo Nix, they're starting to get the run game going a little bit. Javonte Williams finds the end zone again. You're getting him, Bo Nix is getting comfortable with his weapons on the outside. Vele having a huge season. Cortland Sutton back to doing what he does, making those highlight 50-50 ball catches like you expect him to do. This is a Broncos team that is on a roll right now, and Sean Payton is coaching out of his mind. 15. The Los Angeles Rams. The Rams, they're a team that, look, I really like this Rams team, right? They escape with a win in New England, 28-22, a little bit closer than you want. They're still a very hot team. They're still on the cusp of the playoffs. They're a team that I think will find a way in, and when they get in, it's going to be very scary for the rest of the league. That defense is playing really good ball right now. Matthew Stafford is getting back to himself with his weapons back. He hit a couple of huge plays to Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua, who both had huge games, and you can see the upside of that offense in games like this. At number 14, we have the Miami Dolphins. The Dolphins are on a little bit of a roll now. 2 straight victories for them. This one against the Raiders, I know, doesn't really count as much because it's the Raiders. They're not very good, but Tyreek Hill getting back involved in that offense. We see Waddle getting involved in that offense. Jonnu Smith has really come in and been a huge part of making this team go. Tua looks more comfortable. The run game's starting to get going a little bit. Everything that wasn't working without Tua is starting to come back, and entering a tough stretch of schedule for them. They're going to need it because they're not out of the AFC playoff race yet, at least as a wild card. They can still find a way in. 13, it's the Vikings. Maybe I'm lower on this team than a lot of other people are. That defense continues to play great. They beat the Titans. They beat the Jags the last couple weeks. They haven't looked their greatest offensively, and I still need to see more out of Sam Darnold when they go up against some of these better teams that aren't sitting at the bottom of the league like the Titans and the Jags. But still, team that keeps winning games when they're supposed to. That's part of your job. That's part of why you're a playoff team, and that's part of why you're in the top 15. The Vikings are at 13. 12, we have the Commanders. 2 straight losses necessitate a big drop, despite playing against 2 top 5, top 10 teams right now. The Washington Commanders, I think the rib injury is really hampering Jaden Daniels just a little bit. They get some of that running game back, but they weren't able to get any of that going on the ground against the Eagles. They're going to need to step up. They've struggled a little bit down the stretch here. We will see what happens. I think this is still a very good Commanders team, and they're not out of that division race yet. Only 1.5 games back, although the Eagles are really hot, and it would have helped if they got a win on Thursday night. 11, it goes to the Texans. Joe Mixon, 3 touchdowns. That run game, when it goes, this Texans team is completely different. They get everything going when that run games go, especially with Joe Mixon. They got Nico Collins back. That was huge for them, being able to stretch the field. Boxes weren't as crowded. That was partly why Joe Mixon had such a huge game. The other part is that they're playing an atrocious Cowboys defense that can't stop a nosebleed right now. This is a really good Texans team. I'm struggling to take them seriously because yet again, they struggled in the second half. It wasn't as bad as it was the last 2 weeks where they weren't able to get anything up on the board, but still, an offense still kind of got stalled in that second half, even against a bad Cowboys defense, and it's a little bit concerning for me. But they continue to get better. The offensive line only allowed 1 sack. That's the most concerning part. It's that offensive line for me. Still a good team. They're just outside the top 10, though, at number 11. Hitting into the top 10, at number 10, we have the San Francisco 49ers. A tough loss for them in Seattle. That defense without Nick Bosa wasn't able to get any pressure, and that's where you saw Seattle start to step it up and turn on the heat. The San Francisco 49ers, a very injured team. They did not have Kittle, and I didn't want to punish them too much for it, but still, this is the kind of game that they had been playing all season long. They get Christian McCaffrey back. It didn't change as much as I thought it would. This is still a very good team. They're still a team that I think will make the playoffs, but they're kind of playing with fire right now, and they need to right the ship as soon as possible. At 9, we have the Cardinals. They were on a bye week. Didn't want to punish them. They've still won 4 straight games. In 3 of those 4 games, they haven't allowed a touchdown, and that offense continues to hum. I'm very excited to see where this Cardinals team goes. I'm really high on the Cardinals. At number 8, it's the Packers. A miraculous win in a game they probably shouldn't have won. To be fair, the Bears probably shouldn't have won that game either. Neither one of them really played great football. But when you look at the Packers, they're a team that just finds a way to win, and that's very important. Very important. This defense continues to play great. The offense, especially at the goal line, is a little bit concerning for the Packers. They left 2 touchdowns on the board going for it on 4th down and goal. Weren't able to punch it in. I still think this is a great Packers team. They're still in the top 10, but they're no longer in the top 5. At number 7, it's the Steelers, and I've been slow to raise the Steelers all season long, and I'm still going to be. This is their second win of the season where they did not score a touchdown. That's very concerning to me. We can talk about how that means the defense is great, and sure it does. It's a division game. That means a lot. This is a defense that's playing incredible. But it's very concerning when the offense just goes into a shell like this. I know you played a great team, and it worked against the Ravens. It worked against the Falcons. Maybe it worked against bird teams or something. But still, this is very, very concerning trend for them. That it's happened twice in a season is not good. I like that they're using Justin Fields as a rushing quarterback. I like that they're getting him in there. They cracked the top 10 for the first time all season, and maybe that makes me a little bit of a slow poke for them, but I think 7 is fair. I thought about putting them all the way into the top 5. I wasn't able to do that to myself, though. The Steelers are at number 7. Number 6 is the Chargers. This is another team I considered putting in the top 5. The Chargers, I was very concerned with that defense. I know they went up against a super high-powered offense in the Cincinnati Bengals, but the second half of that game was awful. The first half was flawless for them. Nothing could go wrong, but especially that third quarter. The Bengals tied up that game. It was a 27-6 lead heading into halftime. They scored that third touchdown to make it 27-27 with 12 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. That's 18 minutes of football where the Chargers just sucked. Defensively, offensively, they couldn't get anything done. That is concerning against a defense like the Bengals. They need to get more than that, and they need to play a consistent half. Justin Herbert's still playing really good ball. This is a Chargers team that I still think is really, really good, but still a little concerning, especially in that second half. At number 5, we have the Baltimore Ravens. They take a tough loss to a division opponent. You can talk to me all day long about how they shouldn't be in the top 5, but as long as you have Lamar Jackson, potential MVP, Derrick Henry, potential offensive player of the year, that is a team that I cannot move out of the top 5. This is a very, very good Ravens team. They're still going to make the playoffs despite that loss to the Steelers. Not their best game, but it was a division matchup on the road, so I'm not going to punish them too severely for it. They fall out of the top 3, and they're out of that top-tier contender area, but still in the top 5. At number 4, we have the Philadelphia Eagles, another team that I admittedly have been a little slower than I probably should have on moving them up. 6 straight wins for them. Saquon Barkley playing elite football right now, the best of his career. He's averaging over 100 yards per game for him. This is incredible what you get to see him do on a nightly basis. Saquon Barkley special. Jalen Hurts has stopped turning the ball over, and that is the key to this victory. After the bye week, they've stopped turning the ball over. And like I said, that was the biggest issue for this Eagles team. They are going to be a very dangerous team come playoff time. Do not sleep on the Eagles. Do not think the Lions are just going to be that number one seed in the NFC, because that team has shown more weaknesses to me than the Eagles have in the last couple of weeks. At number 3 is the Chiefs. They suffer their first loss of the season. Finally, they've been dethroned. No longer at number 1. We have our first change at number 1 of the season. The Kansas City Chiefs fall 2 spots to number 3. They lose to the Bills. A tightly contested game. Josh Allen playing like the MVP that he is. This is what we expect out of Allen and Mahomes. It's super cool to see that even in these matchups in the regular season, it means so much. That stadium that up in Buffalo was rocking. It was such a fun environment to watch, and the Chiefs couldn't get it done over there. Undefeated season, no longer. Chiefs couldn't pull out enough devil magic to win this one. The run game wasn't going, and I think that was the biggest issue for them. When the run game doesn't go for this team, which they haven't really had an issue with all season long, it kind of struggles a little bit. But Chiefs still at number 3, still very respectable at 9-1. The Buffalo Bills, the teams that knocked off the Chiefs, are here at number 2. Josh Allen getting crowned potential MVP for him. He made an incredible play to seal the game, a gutsy call for them on 4th down, going for it, and he scores a touchdown on a broken play. A huge, huge win for the Buffalo Bills, showing they might be the best team in the AFC. Crazy to think about there. The AFC, it's very muddled at the top. The Buffalo Bills at number 2. And that, of course, leaves our number 1 team, the Detroit Lions. I talked about how efficient that offense is, and I've talked about it a lot. That is the most efficient offense that I've ever witnessed in my entire life. It is scary how efficient that offense is. It is so much fun to watch that run game combo with David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs. In the pass game, you, of course, have Amon-Ra St. Brown, but you have the speedster and Jamal Williams over there. Jameson Williams. I apologize. This is a really good Detroit Lions team. They lose Alex Anzalone. That is going to sting. He's been having an incredible season. They've lost a lot defensively. Hopefully they can come and fix that. But for now, the Lions are at number 1, a spot that a lot of people have been thinking that they should be for a while. They finally claim that number 1 spot. The Lions are the best team in football. But let me know what you think. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this power rankings. I'll run through the top 10 real quick. At number 10, we've got San Francisco. 9, the Cardinals. 8, the Packers. 7, the Steelers. 6, the Chargers. 5, the Ravens. 4, the Eagles. 3, the Chiefs. 2, the Bills. And number 1, the Lions. But thank you, everybody, so much for tuning in to today's episode of Sports by GSMC Podcast Network. I've been your host, Jeremy Lapidus. I appreciate everybody so much for tuning in. We'll be back tomorrow talking all of the breaking news around sports, some big news around hockey. We'll have NBA power rankings, as well as a big matchup between the Cavs and the Celtics tonight. Can the Cavs stay undefeated? We will see. We'll talk about all of that and more tomorrow. Same time, same place. But thank you so much for listening. You all have a good one. Bye-bye.
Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day. Yeah, I'm tired of shit, and the coffee ain't hit yet. Damn, ain't that great. I don't wanna go.